Okay, here we're back again, and we have already completed by use of the worksheet. We've completed the income statement and the statement of owner's equity. Now we will get to the third financial statement, which is the balance sheet. Of course, we do have a fourth financial statement that you learned in Accounting 102 with the statement of cash flows, but we're not doing that for this review. This is a review of Accounting 101. Okay, so in our balance sheet, if we had a classified balance sheet, that means we would divide the assets into current assets, long-term investments, property, plant, and equipment, and other assets, intangible assets and other assets. And we'll be doing that in, we've done that in Accounting 102, and we'll be doing that especially in Accounting 201. But here we're just going to use a simple balance sheet where we'll just list all the assets. Remember to have to subtract any contra assets. There's two formats to the balance sheet. You can put the assets on the left and then the liabilities and owner's equity on the right, and that is the account format because it's like the accounting equation, A, and then the equal sign, and then L plus E is on the right side of the equal sign. Or you can do it in a report format like I have it here with assets on the top and liabilities and owner's equity on the bottom. Still, your total assets have to equal your total liabilities and owner's equity. A has to equal L plus E, or your accounting equation doesn't balance and you have problems. Okay, so let's go ahead and list the assets. Okay, so there's all our assets. Just because accumulated depreciation has a credit balance does not make it a liability. It is a contra asset attached at the hip to equipment but has an opposite balance. Now, since I have more than one thing here, I'm going to use my detail column. Okay, so cash, this will be the first number in this column, so I'll put the dollar sign, and that's 5060. Accounts receivable. Mowing supplies. Equipment. Okay, now I'm going to subtract accumulated depreciation dash equipment. Since I have the word less over here, I don't have to put it in parentheses, but I will do so anyways. Okay, that's 10. Okay, and I need a border, a bottom border there, and then I'm going to total all of this up, and remembering to subtract the accumulated depreciation. Okay, and I need a double border there. Okay, so there are assets. Now, of course, I'm doing this on Excel. I could make some things easier for myself, not putting the dash in there. I'm putting the dash in there simply to remind you that if you're using accounting paper, you have to have that dash. If you were putting this on Word, you really should have the dash. Now here in Excel, you can just put it in as a number, and then you can use up here, there's the $ to put on whatever numbers you want to put a $, and you would have to use these decimal places to show 2 decimal places. And then you want a consistent decimal place. Whenever you do stuff on Excel, don't have some numbers with 1 decimal place and some numbers with 2 decimal places. Make sure they all have the same number of decimal places. And for accounting purposes, for our purposes, they should show the pennies. If you're talking about a condensed financial statements for a large company, obviously, you do not need to worry about the pennies. Okay, liabilities. Let's put those in. We have accounts payable, and that's our only liability. So that can go out in the summary column. And that is 1100. Okay, now the total liabilities, I can just disregard that since I only have one thing. I don't really need this. I can just take it out. Okay, if I had more than one liability, I would have them listed in the detail column, and then I'd say total liabilities and put the total out in the summary column, just like I did with the assets. Owner's equity. We need the ending capital. So this is MM, comma, capital, but I am not, I am absolutely not using this number off the worksheet. For the assets and the liabilities, I use the number straight off the worksheet for the balance sheet, because I'm doing the balance sheet. If you're just taking it from adjusted trial balance, then you would use those same numbers as well. You cannot use the capital number because we are going to close things out into that capital, and it's going to be a different number, not what's on the worksheet. So you have to use the ending capital that we just did from the statement of owner's equity. If you try to start your financial statements by starting with the balance sheet, or do the income statement and then the balance sheet, you're going to have problems, because then you're going to want to use that 5,000 in there, and it doesn't work. Okay, so that's only one number, and that is 6,000. And we need an underline. Now we're going to add up the liabilities and the owner's equity. The 1,100 and the 6,000 is 7,100. Oops, I need a $sign because this is a grand total. This 7,100 here equals the 7,100 of total assets. So my A equals my L plus E. So I'm good to go. I need my double underline. Okay, and I now have a simple, complete set of the 3 main financial statements. If you do not equal, if you total your liabilities and owner's equity and you didn't get the 7,100, the most common problem is that you used the 5,000 from the worksheet instead of the ending capital from your statement of owner's equity. That's the most common problem. So if you fix that, most likely you'll be okay. Another problem that sometimes happens is that people forget to subtract the accumulated depreciation. That has an opposite balance, so you can't just add it with all these debit balances. You have to subtract it. Okay, so those are the two most common problems that there are. All right.